I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, April the 16th, where we're in kind of a feeder cattle lull right now. Typical springtime deal. We're at the point in our supplies where our wheat cattle that come off the traditional grazing period, come off March the 15th, those are all gone. But then we're going to have graze out wheat cattle coming back to town here in a few weeks, but it's just kind of quiet right now, not bringing a lot of those cattle down. And then on your demand side, we're at the point where our buying for stocker cattle for those double stock pastures in the Flint Hills, parts of the Osage, and the like, those are turned out now, so there won't be a big push on those type cattle. But we'll have a little bit more demand coming in for our lighter weight turnout calves in a few weeks when these pastures fully get greened up, because it's just been so cold and nasty, especially in the Midwest and further north, that those pastures aren't quite ready to turn out yet. But your farmers are busy. They've been fertilizing pastures, of course, and then they've also fertilized in their crop ground. Hate it for some of the guys in the worst of the low bottoms and in the flooded regions, because they're probably not going to get to turn or to plant anything in those. The ones that have got a lot of work getting trash out of there, logs and all kinds of rocks and sticks, and just cleaning it up like they had it before. But we're just kind of in a transition period right now, and it's a little bit quiet. But where you see the supplies that we're not seeing a whole lot of, like those really green stocker cattle, we're not going to see that many more of those. But the few deals that are still out there will really bring a nice premium. And some of your guys that's got your fall born calves, they're putting a little bit more weight on them, but then they'll be ready to sell those here as things warm up and everybody really gets grass fever. But let's look at the board for Monday. April live cattle futures down a quarter at 126.30. June up 2 cents at 121.47. April feeder cattle up a quarter, 145.67, and May was up 52 cents at 151.02. Your fall contracts now are over 160, and I hate to say I told you so, but I told you guys so. It's been 2 or 3 months ago when those late summer fall contracts on your feeder cattle were really struggling there, and I told you guys they were way undervalued. I hope you took advantage of it. Of course I didn't, but it's still to be nice once in a while. Even a blind hog finds an acorn here and there. But your 2020 lean hog contracts were sharply higher again on Monday, and just kind of a lot of volatility in the nearbys and pretty much all your lean hog contracts for the rest of this year. But people are still getting excited about this China demand that could start coming down the pike, and they're wanting to take advantage of it. Look at the weighted average on last week's negotiated fat cattle trade in your 5-area feeding region. Once again, I think it's been every week so far this calendar year, but maybe 1 or 2. We haven't been able to reach year-ago volume. 68,100 head for last week on negotiated cash in your 5-area feeding region, compared to 80,600 head a year ago. So we're continuing to lose negotiated trade. We're continuing to lose leverage every week, and it's not like the packers aren't getting the cattle. Our slaughter is almost already up 1% year to date. So they're getting plenty of cattle. They're just getting them in other ways, formulas, negotiated grids, and forward contracts. But as we continue to lose leverage, it's hard to gain any ground. And we had a higher market last week. It sure didn't feel like it, did it? But I guess we got to take those when we can get them. It didn't feel like a big victory, but your weighted averages were sure higher. On your live steers, a very unusual kind of a trade. We had middle of the week trade in the Southern Plains. We had trickles here and there. Then nothing happened on Thursday. And then we had some higher prices on Friday. Of course, most of those didn't really get reported or were kind of washed over. But on your live sales in the 5 area, 122 all the way up to 130. Your Southern Plains sold mostly at 124, but they were able to get some higher prices on a few deals, those that held out till later on Friday, but not enough to really establish a trade. But your Northern Plains, 126 to 128 for the most part, but then they might have had as much volume late Friday afternoon from 127.5 all the way up to 130 on Friday. But you look at your weighted average in your 5-area feeding region, live steers for the week, 126.19, and that was 89 cents higher than the previous week. So I guess you got to take those when you can get them. Your dress trade, 202 to 206 was the range, mostly 204 to 205, but there was a whole lot more 205 than there was 204. We just didn't really realize it until the smoke cleared. But your weighted average on dress steers was 204.91, up 50 cents for the week. So, you know, we can't complain too much about last week's trade, although it did not feel like a victory. Nationwide, negotiated cash was only 77,700 head. About 15% or 11,800 of those were for the 15 to 30 day delivery, so that's not too scary. But beware of your August and September contracts. These packers already own more cattle for August and September delivery than they did last year, and it's a long time till then. But we're figuring that's going to be the time when our market ready supplies are the heaviest. Dog days of summer, people fall out of love with grilling when it's 100 degrees and hot and sticky, and we really back off about that time. But they appear to be ganging up for a fall right there in your hottest dog days of summer. So beware of that. Let's talk about your feeder cattle markets. Real-time index on Cattle Market Central late Monday at 143.91. That was down 25 cents, but your markets were pretty good. That is really a pretty good number considering all the volume we saw on Monday. A lot of high volume sales on Monday, and holding that from some of your lighter receipts we had late last week, but some real premium sales in the Northern Plains. That's a pretty good market, almost 144 for an 800-pound steer. Look at some of your big markets. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma National Stockyards, only 5,600 head. Now, I told you guys we are kind of down in receipts because we're in a lull of our supply, especially in that part of the country. But the rain, my God, I was coming back from a speaking engagement up there in northwest Arkansas and coming back through Tulsa and Oklahoma City. I tell you what, rain, you could not hardly hold it on the road. But let's look at your markets out of Oklahoma City. Feeder steers $1 to $2 higher. Feeder heifers mostly steady to 3 lower. And is it just me, or does it sound like when you look at the trends every week from a lot of these big sales, your steers ought to be bringing $5 a pound by now, and your heifers 50 cents a pound? But it's just unbelievable how the steers always are leaving the heifers. But I wonder about that because your steer heifer spread does not change all that much. But calves not well tested, higher undertone on those that were available, just not a lot of light calves moving in central Oklahoma. Look at Joplin Regional Stockyards, 5,200 head there. Feeder steers steady to $3 higher. Feeder heifers steady. Your calves, steers were mostly steady. Heifer calves $2 to $4 higher. Do not forget, this Thursday, primetime video that's associated with Joplin Regional Stockyards there is having a big video special on Thursday. It's April the 18th. Don't forget it. They're having it at the sale barn, not at the casino, but still have $15,000 on offer. You can get onto a Primetime Videos website. You can get onto DV Auction and view and bid right there. If you can't get to the sale, call somebody because they've got, or you can watch it online and call somebody in the barn there and bid to them if you'd rather do that. But don't forget about Primetime Videos, 15,000 head on offer Thursday. And I think it's usually at 1 o'clock p.m. Central. I don't believe they've changed that. But Russell Livestock, Russell, Iowa, the hottest sale on Monday. Pretty typical on a Monday. 6,100 head in Russell, Iowa. Bigger than our 2 biggest high volume sales on Monday. But feeders there compared to 2 weeks ago, $2 to $6 higher. and look at this market report on Cattle Market Central that I pulled, and you see all those best tested weights, and they were tested from middleweights all the way into heavies. But look at some of these quotes. 726 head of 5-weight steers, average 556 at 173.26. That's all the steers, not just the plucked ones. 807 head of 6-weight steers, average 646 at 165.81. 565 head of 7-weight steers, average 751 at 153.97. And 607 head of 8-weight steers, averaged 862 at 140.56. All of those very, very impressive. One of my really good friends that buys cattle there every week or every time they have a big sale, he sent me some quotes that he got out of there, and it was almost like a confession type deal. You know, might as well get this over with, and I'm just going to show you what I did. And I'm glad that some of you guys out there that are working the sales can have fun with this feeder flash too, like I like to. But look at the quotes here on these cattle he bought. Holt steers, really green in good condition here. But look at his buyer's card there. Had a load of 763 pound steers at 158, a load of 741 at 160 and a half, and a load of bigger ones at 784 pounds, bring 157. But I'm going to give the top quote to a sale that I've never talked about before, and I invite you guys to send me quotes whenever you get them, and we invite you guys to join up with Cattle Market Central when you get the opportunity, just to get a hold of me. It's painless. We just to find out who your clerical system is, tie in with them. It's all up there in the clouds, and we get we don't actually pull anything. They push it to us, and it won't hurt you a bit. We only get head counts, weights, price, and class. We won't get any other information from you, but it's a good way to get exposure for your market, and we will give you one of these national beef wire screens to put up in your sale barn. But Sigourney, Iowa had a load of 700 pound steers. They balanced right there at $6.99, but same as 700 pounds at $164. Pretty good quote. That's your feeder flash for Tuesday.